if you hadn't seen Shang-Chi, it was pretty damn good. I must admit, for them to introduce a new character like they did, I was impressed. When I'm not podcasting, King of Podcasts, the raspy voice right here. Hey, I'm still going to push through because I need content to push up there. And I'm guaranteeing, segments on a regular basis with you. And so if the content's there and I can find it, if I can make my voice somehow somewhat, audible, I'm going to do it. This microphone helps a lot. But the crack of my voice, if you didn't already know, I was watching a football game on TV with a bunch of friends at a little watch party, and might have strained my voice a little bit. So it'll come back soon enough. If you're listening to if you listen to me on my Broadcasters podcast or the Wrestling podcast, at some point you'll probably check that my voice will have come back somewhat, and it'll get much better. But right now, it's what it is. So Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings exceeded expectations on its box office debut. $75.5 million in the U.S., 90 days over the 4-day Labor Day weekend, which normally is a soft weekend in the box office. So that's the biggest Labor Day opening since Rob Zombie's Halloween, which brought in $30.6 million in 2007. Who'd have thought that Labor Day would have been a great weekend to put a movie out there like that? Now, also Shang-Chi is one of the best impressive 3-day openings since the pandemic era when the movies came back opened. F9 got $70 million, Black Widow $80 million. So that's pretty good. Pretty damn good. In good company. An excellent start, and while eyes will still be on how the movie holds up in the second weekend, Black Widow dropped 68% because it was available on Disney Plus and people could pirate. Shang-Chi's debut will do better because of the fact that it's in the movie theaters. And if I look at what they've done so far and how it's done performing-wise, weekend to weekend, well, it looks like it's holding up just fine. As I look right now, let me look what the records look like. The weekend chart, well, we know that this past week it was doing really well. Well, so far, as I'm looking at it as we speak, the movie's already gotten, at this point, $109 million. So another $30 million already in the books. Well, actually, since Labor Day weekend, right? Monday. Another 5 days, and it's pulled in another $20 million. It's holding on. It's going to probably do well. And overseas, altogether $166 million. It's making its money. So it's doing just fine. And so that's what's going to happen now, where if Shang-Chi was going to do well, then that would determine if Eternals and other MCU universe movies would be coming out in normal succession, or they would have been held back. So that was the plan. So Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige was reserved over whether Eternals, due out on November 5th, would receive an exclusive cinema release like Shang-Chi or a hybrid release like Black Widow. So now it looks like they're going to go ahead and let all these movies come out in one shot, which is great. We just talked about it on another edition of Winona Podcasting. If I haven't played it here, you will hear about it. Now, there's still some movies that were getting delayed again. Top Gun Maverick is moving from November 2021 to May 2022. But now Shang-Chi has alleviated all the concerns so that a certain industry feels a bit more positive about the huge movie still to come in 2021. Now, for instance, Venom, There'll Be Carnage could have been pushed off to next year, but it was originally pushed for August 12th. Sony pushed it back a month to September 24th to October 15th, and they could move again, but now it's been moved up to October 1st, shortly after the success of Shang-Chi. And it's kind of nice to go and see the movies can be moved around because they've been sitting around there for a long time waiting to get released somewhere, somehow. In the context of the MCU, Shang-Chi's opening ranks among the lowest performing of the entries, but not far off of Spider-Man's Far From Home, whose 3-day debut was $92.6 million, and that was July of 2018, I want to say. In terms of landmark movies, the comparison would be Black Panther's $202 million opening in the U.S., where Shang-Chi did not come up. But now, if it was at the same time as Black Panther pre-pandemic, I'm sure Shang-Chi would have broken $100 million. Pretty easy about that. But in the context of the overall certain marketplace, everything from Digital Spy, by the way, the movie was released into Shang-Chi's off to a very promising start and could confirm Eternals will receive a similar release as it continues the trend of exclusive cinema releases hitting big. While Black Widow opened big, the biggest, highest grossing movie at the box office this year, $182.6 million. There's been talk it hasn't done as much as it could because of the Disney Plus release and Scarlett Johansson filing a lawsuit. Now, one of the biggest successes of the summer, which was one I missed, unfortunately, because of everything that was going on, Ryan Reynolds' Free Guy. It's one of the few movies to hold firm at the box office. Maybe I'll catch it tomorrow. I'm thinking about it because it's going to be tough for me if we're going to catch it in the theater at an early time. I think it was 9:45, and I had other stuff to do. I wasn't going to go out that early to go catch that. Too much other stuff to do. So F9 is the highest grossing U.S. release of the year. $710.7 million worldwide, which just sounds like that's about normal for the movie to do well like that. So it could very well rack up $1 billion. Who would have thought that we would get back to that? But there we go. Quiet Place Part 2 got $160.1 million so far, almost $300 million worldwide. And then you had digital releases simultaneous with the cinemas for Godzilla vs. Kong, Cruella, and Jungle Cruise. And they had done solid numbers at the box office as well. Like if you look at what has happened this year domestically, you have Black Widow at the highest. So Jungle Cruise and Godzilla vs. Kong broke the $100 million mark. Cruella, $86 million. Free Guy, $96 million. Space Jam, $70 million. And everybody else comes underneath the $60 million mark for all of that. But also note that all those movies for Godzilla vs. Kong were also open to almost 4,000 theaters or more. 4,000 screens, as a matter of fact. So there's a lot of what's being said about Shang-Chi being an interesting experiment because it's a 45-day exclusive theatrical window. If Disney were to look at its opening to decide how to release Eternals, it's proven to be a successful experiment. So there you go. Eternals still set to go out November 5th. That's the next Marvel movie. It was a good crowd that came out for it. The movie was really well received. Damn good job. Regardless of how much the movie made, the Shang-Chi movie was very good. I was very impressed by it. I would recommend it. I'm going to leave it there. I'll talk to you next time.